Welcome back, everyone. Today we're taking a look at The Chapters Due by Graham McNeill. Now in 2000, McNeill started writing for White Dwarf, and he has also worked on several Warhammer 40k codexes. In 2002, he started his Ultramarines series with Nightbringer, going along towards Warriors of Ultramar, Dead Sky Black Sun, Killing Ground, Courage and Honor, and finally, The Chapters Due. And he has also worked on novels for different sci-fi universes, such as StarCraft, Warhammer Fantasy, and Legend of Stigma. So if you couldn't already tell, this guy really knows his Warhammer lore. And this book is the last book in his Ultramarine series to date. And I'll admit, I haven't read the other books, with the exception of that short story in the Legends of the Space Marine book. But you could go back and check out that video to see what I thought about that one. Now, although, to date, this is the last book in a long series, I think it does pretty well as a standalone book. It really helps show you what the Ultramarines are all about, and it does a good job at it. Now, that is just preposterous that you'll read the final book in the series without going through the excellent series of the Ultramarines. What just happened? Oh, I see I've befuddled you. You really should be more careful with those jump cuts. You have no idea what that ability will do. Wait, so what's your beef about me reviewing this book right now? You see, without reading the other books in the series, you do not realize how far this series has fallen in this book. Alright, whatever. Just let me do my job, okay? Now, this book does a pretty decent job on catching you up with the characters. It does tell you just enough so you won't get confused about the story. But it's easy to tell that you're missing out a lot if you haven't read the other books. Now, the funny thing about this book, when I first picked it up, I read reviews on it, and people who haven't read the other books like this one. But people who have read the other books had a lot of complaints about this. It's probably what that other guy was complaining about. So let me just tell you what I thought about it. The Ultramarine worlds are being invaded by the forces of chaos, and they're being pushed to the brink of annihilation. And this is the kind of story where the villains seem to have the upper hand at every moment. No. You see, the Ultramarines are the best of the Emperor's champions. Okay, best or not, they're being attacked by the Iron Warriors, a Chaos Space Marine Legion, one of the strongest. And they're constantly performing surprise attacks and ambushes on Ultramarines among all these different worlds, trying to spread out their forces. They can handle any odds, no matter the circumstances, and be victorious without so much as a scratch. Such is the power of the Ultramarines. Even so, the invading force does have inside knowledge on the Ultramarines Codex, so they know their combat doctrine, so they're able to figure out what the Ultramarines are going to do before they themselves do it. You don't get it? It shouldn't be a challenge for them. Okay, and what about the Demon Prince they gotta fight? I'm not listening. Okay, it's this kind of person that made me want to do these reviews. Because I try to be a little bit less close-minded than that. Okay, keyword is try. So let's go on to the main character, Uriel Ventress, captain of the 4th Company. Now, apparently Uriel has done something in the past that caused people to question his authority. So he's trying to regain that respect, not just from his company, but from his fellow captains. And in fact, it is due to his past that's even making it possible for this Chaos Legion to perform so well. I'm not really sure on the specifics since I haven't read the book, but apparently somebody made a clone of Uriel. And that's how the Chaos Legion is able to get information on the Ultramarines Codex. But Uriel is not the only character we're following. The story also tracks the captain of the 2nd Company, Cato Sincarius, the chapter master Calgar, and some mini stories and the other captains doing something way off. Really, those guys are kind of like filler. But Sincarius and Calgar get their own full-blown story in this book. Not the same as the other books. Okay, and it might have worked for those books, but in this one, it involves an entire chapter. Everybody's getting involved. Sincarius and Calgar are both huge characters in the Ultramarines lore. And if I were to be honest, their stories could have actually made another book. That's just how well flushed out I thought those were. And if I were to be perfectly honest, I do think that their stories were a little bit better than Uriel's, even though Uriel's story did seem to have the more important impact on the entire book as a whole. But overall, I think all those stories were well put together. Although there was this weird Deus Ex moment where I think the Legion of the Damned showed up, or could have just been Space Marine Ghost, which are kind of Legion of the Damned. But it's just kind of out of nowhere, and it's very Deus Ex-y. That was a bit weird. Alright, that's it. I'm done with you. Let's see if this works. What do you think you're doing? Huh. This is just my TV remote. Whatever. Okay, now that that guy's gone, let me try to quickly break down how these stories flow. Uriel's mission involves trying to track down the guy who's leading the entire Chaos invasion, and he is assisted by the Raven Guard. Okay, and I had to bring this up. I know Graham McNeill worked on a lot of the codexes, the Space Marine Codex being one of them, but it was not quite fourth wall, but close to it, when Uriel's told he should have an honor guard involving the Ancient, the Apothecary, and the Bodyguards, and Company Champion. Just kind of reminded me when I made my first Blood Ravens army, and I was doing the same thing. Anyway, while Uriel's on this mission, he ends up discovering what happened to him in the past, and how that was kind of the catalyst of this entire invasion. Not really the catalyst, but what helped make it happen. Now, of Captain Sicarius, if you remember my review on Assault on Black Reach, and if you haven't seen it, pause this video, go check that one out now. Sicarius' personality acts very much the same way. And they also try to play through the role of the Sergeant, seeing Sicarius acting like a reckless glory hog. And for anybody who says that the Ultramarines appeared weak in this book, just go through that story with Sicarius. I mean, the stuff they pulled off, if they were weak in this story, then they were just overpowered in the other ones. But then again, I guess Space Marines are kind of overpowered. Yes, I'm bitter about losing some tabletop matches. Well, anyway, that being said, Sicarius is after one of the lieutenants, and this person is essentially massing the huge army that's going to take over the entire Ultramarine sector. So it's up to 2nd Company to try to stop that. Now we got Calgar's story. And he also has a little bit of a history and a secret. And that secret comes to bite him, because now he's squaring off against an entire demon horde. And as these 3 stories are being told separately, they all tie up very nicely coming to the end. Except for that weird Deus Ex moment. Oh, and I'm just going to throw this out there. I really don't like it when there's an explosion and you don't see somebody die, but then people assume he's dead, but you know he's not dead. You know it's not. I mean, they do it in books, movies, anime, comics, whatever. It's really annoying. And it's not suspenseful because we already know. So stop it. Stop it. Okay, sorry about that little tangent. So overall, I enjoyed this book. It may not be the best way for somebody brand new to Warhammer to get into the series. It's not a horrible start, but it's not the easiest one either. Now, if you haven't read the series, this is a pretty good standalone. If you have read the series, which I haven't, so I can't really comment on that, I just say calm down. I mean, if the Ultramarines had it so easy in the past few books, it's about time they got a challenge. And a chaos and demonic invasion among the entire sector is a pretty good challenge. So anyway, that's my opinion. Take it for what it's worth.